Baruch Hashem, it is day number 206 of our daily study of Rambam, Sefer, HaMitzvos. And in the 3 chapters a day of Mishnah Torah, we are continuing Hilchos Paruma, the laws of the red heifer, with chapters 11, 12, and 13. And our mitzvah today, we have just one mitzvah, and it is a repeat from yesterday. Positive Commandment 108, and that is the laws of the application of the purification waters of the red heifer. And we mentioned in passing yesterday the paradox that those who are involved in the preparation of the purification waters actually become impure. So it's a little bit funny. You have one of the same item, the purification waters, which render pure people impure, but they render impure people pure. The Mitzvah of Paruma is actually introduced to us as a choik. A choik is a special word in the Holy Tongue which describes a law that can't really fully be understood with our mortal minds. In Parshas Chukas is that word choik. Zois Chukas HaTorah. This is the quintessential choik law of the Torah, which is the red heifer. And what is so difficult to understand, to wrap our minds around? Well, one thing is the aforementioned paradox, that one and the same thing is making pure people impure and making impure people pure. But there's another aspect to it as well. And this is something that the Lubavitcher Rebbe speaks about. The idea that it runs counter to our self-interest to voluntarily undergo, albeit temporarily, but to undergo ritual defilement in order to help somebody else. Why would we do that to ourselves? And yet, we willingly do this for each other because our connection to our fellow is something that goes beyond just what makes sense to us. There's a supra-rational bond that we have to each other, which comes out when we exhibit this self-sacrifice. And the Rebbe expands this beyond just the literal mitzvah of Paruma. Symbolically, at least, metaphorically speaking, you might see somebody who is in a category of Tumas Meis. He's contracted the Aviavais Hatuma, the worst type of spiritual impurity. In other words, you're looking at a fellow Jew who's fallen low spiritually. He's involved in very not good things. And you say to yourself, well, someone's got to help him, but why does it got to be me? It's not my fault that he's in such a difficult position, and if, look where he is. He's spiritually so far gone. If I'm going to go help him, I'm going to expose myself to the spiritual impurity that's around him, and it's going to rub off on me. I don't want to do that. I mean, I feel bad for him, but why do I have to hurt myself? And yet, supra-rationally, with a devotion to each other that goes beyond what makes sense, we do undertake the responsibility to help a fellow Jew, even though we know that spiritually it may be very challenging for us, and that we're going to expose ourselves to things that if we'd have our druthers, we would prefer to avoid those things. We'd like to stay far away from spiritual impurity. But to help a fellow Jew, to purify him, then we do allow ourselves to temporarily be exposed to such a condition. And that doesn't make sense. That's something we do because we have this deep essential connection to each other. So that's an important lesson to keep in mind. Sometimes we do things for each other that don't make sense, that don't have a payoff, but that's just the nature of our connection to each other. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow for more, God willing.